And they can hear us.
And they can hear us.
This one you did down there?
I need to get the app on.
Yeah, this is what we did.
Very important.
Shout out to Dave Carroll. He came down there and met me and helped film this.
Such a cool guy.
He's a good dude. You know, I was really happy doing this because I gave Dave the camera the whole time. I did not film anything. All I did was direct. Yeah, taking that director role. That's it, folks. That's one of the videos I just did for Emily. There's two of them. One of them when we put it out. And it's not because of me, it's because of her, obviously. Guys, Emily Kasselmann. Say hi to the folks, Emily.
Hey, good morning, everybody.
Give me the good morning.
Good morning. Yeah.
She does that pretty much like every time. Like if you're at McDonald's that Emily goes, you walk in and she's there, you're definitely hearing it. And I think she's getting her employees to do this too.
Yeah.
Like I always say this, and I know I don't know if that works or not. Like if people always like talk about Chick-fil-A, how the customer service is so great there, they're all like, they're really nice and everything. When you go to the Kasselmann McDonald's, it feels like that. It's a totally different vibe. I know people have been to McDonald's places, and sometimes the employees they don't want to be there. When you go to one of the McDonald's, you can tell that the people there have been handpicked, the people there want to be there, and they enjoy working there with her. And she makes that possible. That's what I really love about working with her and showcasing her and what she does.
I appreciate that. We have some outstanding men and women in our restaurants, and I mean, it's really cool to watch people grow and thrive, and just the hospitality piece is so important for us in the restaurants.
Yeah. You just don't see that. Your place is definitely different than that. So this is the Make Your Move podcast. What we do is we try to bring in people that are going to inspire other people. So the whole concept behind Make Your Move is there's people out there who have that idea or that passion or that thing they want to do every day, or they hate their 9 to 5, they hate going to work, they hate all this, they hate the rat race, and they're on the edge of making a move. And we make this podcast because we're all entrepreneurs, and we want to bring entrepreneurs along, tell their story, and kind of promote that thing, like give that person a push. Like you can do it. And we're showing people who have done that, who have taken the lead and done that. So that's why we have you on today. Let's jump right into, tell us about, I want to hear your story in the world. Take us back. You told this story when I came and shot your first commercials at the McDonald's story. It's fantastic. Let's go back. Let's talk about your dad and the franchising and all that. You grew up watching.
Yeah, so my dad is retired now, but he's been with McDonald's. He was with McDonald's for 40 years, and just an outstanding operator. I went to Northern Kentucky University, shout out to the Norses, and I actually got my degree in psychology, bachelor's, and a minor in marketing. I thought I was going to be a school psychologist. That's what I thought I was. Yeah, that's what I thought I was going to do with my life. I had a real passion for that, and graduated college and ended up working. I got an internship at Procter & Gamble in Cincinnati.
Yeah.
So that was
pretty good company.
Very good company. It was an incredible experience. I ended up full-time there, and I ended up getting a job as the North America recruiting specialist for product supply engineering, which is a mouthful.
Yeah, what was that?
Yeah, so I know. So I was recruiting engineers for the plants around the country, and so I was there almost 10 years, phenomenal career. But in the meantime, I watched my dad, as an entrepreneur, and he was making such an impact locally and in his community with the people, and I was like, wow, that is so intriguing. Like, I really want to do that.
He's having fun every day.
Yeah, I was just like, wow, that's really cool. And believe me, I was, in the middle of a phenomenal career. I had a lot of benefits and perks, and working for one of the best companies in the world, in my opinion. I had a phenomenal career. But in 2012, I went to my dad and I said, I think I want to leave my career and pursue McDonald's because.
What did he say about that?
Wasn't excited.
Really?
No, he was not.
Your father, when you work for McDonald's, ran McDonald's, did he start at the bottom?
Yeah, that's a great. Yeah, he did. He actually is from the country of Lebanon, so he came here, in the 80s for college. Went to the University of Dayton and got his MBA and started at a McDonald's restaurant as a crew person. So yes, he actually started at the very bottom. Yes, yeah. A lot of his family was like, "Wow, I mean, what are you going to do there at McDonald's?" And he loved it so much. He said, "One day I really want to own one of these restaurants." And so, I watched him grow over the years quite a bit. But in 2012, like I said, I told him, I really think I want to leave my career and I want to pursue this. And I think he was just fearful at that time, as any parent would be. Like, so you want to give up your entire career and you want to go pursue this because there is no guarantee that I would become an owner-operator or what maybe the future would hold for me at that time. So I worked for him for about 6 months on the weekends because he's like, just try it.
Yeah.
Just give it a try. Let me see if you.
What did he have you do?
Everything. I was doing everything. Whatever position I needed to help in the restaurant, and so.
So you were cooking and everything?
Yeah, handing out drive-throughs. Yeah, he's like, you're gonna walk the lobby. Yeah, he's like, do whatever. We've been through so many different renditions, right? Of so many.
I just didn't know how it was done back then when he was, because I know what I have to do now. I don't know how much it's changed.
It's changed a lot. I mean, we've progressed quite a bit, with technology and everything. So
that was actually, I worked at McDonald's when I was younger. It was actually one of my favorite jobs. I don't know why.
That's right, you did work.
Yeah, I really liked it. I worked there for almost 2 years.
You learn a lot.
Yeah, I worked for the location.
Yeah.
At a different family.
Yeah.
But it was a fun job, really. I don't know why it was fun. Mm-hmm. It's the hustle of being in the restaurant.
Yeah.
And time goes by.
Makes the time go by fast.
It really does. And you feel like you actually accomplished something because you see how many orders you've made and how quickly you can get them out. It's just, I don't know, there's a satisfaction to it if you actually doing it and not just show up for a paycheck.
I think that's just because you're a good worker, right? That's what she's talking about, good workers. And I know that's what you're talking about. I work places, and the job itself is ass and paid. But I'll still do the best thing, because it's got to be the best.
That's probably our nature. Entrepreneurs, just because we didn't have a business back then, doesn't mean we weren't entrepreneurs. We care about what we do as business owners.
You can't just be a business owner out for it.
No, you certainly can. Sorry for everybody to continue with the story.
What was that process for, we said, no guarantee to be an owner-operator. What did that process look like for him? And what did you have to go through to kind of start that yourself? And I guess that kind of goes in with your story. That's one thing that's, to me, very interesting because I know it's not easy just to get into school.
Yeah, so, essentially he was my coach, through the process, but he really is not involved in the journey of me becoming an operator. It's really the company that drives that system. I started literally at the bottom. So I was almost 30 years old. I had left my entire career.
You're a Procter & Gamble.
I left on October 31st.
CEO, and then you're making French fries.
October 31st, 2012, I walked out. It was Halloween. I remember it clearly. I gathered all my things on my desk and I left. And on Monday morning, I was on register at LaGrange McDonald's.
You didn't put 2 weeks in and just left?
No. I gave notice. I gave notice. But so I started at the bottom. And that was really important for my dad, and it was also really important for me. He said, you need to understand how the business works, and you want to gain respect from your peers, and so that's what I did. For the next 6 years, I was in a variety of different positions. I was a general manager for several years. I was a supervisor for several years, a director for my dad's organization, and eventually became what we call a registered applicant, so someone that has interest in potentially becoming an operator eventually.
All right, so it's not about just having money and wanting to do it.
Not at all.
You have to apply to do it.
Yes. Yes.
McDonald's is they're concerned about like who's doing it.
What's the percentage of owner-operators that weren't in the business before?
It's incredibly high. I don't know the number off the top of my head, but the majority of our owner-operators started as crew people. It's like a very high number. So people that are owner-operators for McDonald's typically, not always, but have started like in the system at the bottom. Because they want people that know the business. Yeah, so I think, unfortunately, a lot of people think McDonald's is all like corporation. The majority of the restaurants are privately owned. We're franchisees. There is someone behind that restaurant.
You said that flip. I remember we talked about that. You said it used to be like, what was it? It's like 60-40, and now it's like 90-10.
Yeah, it was pretty high. The corporate owned quite a bit of number of restaurants, and now the majority of restaurants are owned by franchisees. So, and I love that, because there is a local owner operator behind each of those restaurants. Yeah.
That's so smart. I think it's a smart business move as well, because you actually get owners and operators that want the community to thrive. If you're sitting in a corporate spot way far away, it's hard to make that impact, which is awesome. And that's really cool to know all these things.
She has power McDonald's secrets.
So I will say,
is the ice cream machine really cool?
Always works. I will say though, leading my career, although I was very driven, I wanted to make this happen, and this was a passion of mine. It was probably one of the scariest things I've ever done in my entire life. I look back now, and if my kid came to me and we're with this same scenario, I would, because at the time I was like, Dad, why is it, just calm down, it's not a big deal, I'll make it happen, one way or the other. And as a parent now, I'm like, oh my gosh, I would be like, what are you doing?
When you made this transition, where were you at family-wise? Were you married with the kids?
I was married, no children.
No children?
Yeah, at that time,
then, how did he react to this idea?
My husband?
Yeah.
He was extremely supportive.
You know why? Because he's a Star Trek fan.
Oh my gosh, yeah. He was extremely supportive.
I love that guy right off the rip. By the way, I'm a Star Trek geek. Josh Tungate didn't even know this, one of my best friends. But he has an Enterprise 1701D in the office, and I highly respect that. Side note, sorry. Keep going.
Yeah, he is a pretty good guy. He's a pretty good guy, I will say. But I mean, my husband and I, we met at Blockbuster Video. That's where we worked in high school. So we have been together since high school.
Where'd you go to high school?
Boone County.
Nice.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Boone County Rebels. Yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
my mom graduated from.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So, but yeah, we met in high school, and he has stood by me through this entire process as I've grown from 1 store to 8 stores. Yeah. And that, in my opinion, takes a lot of energy and courage, and he's just a huge element of our success. So.
How often are you in the stores?
I'm in the stores just about every day. I'm very
8?
Well. I mean, I can't make all 8, but I try. I try to tell myself. But
you're there often.
I'm pretty hands-on.
That's phenomenal.
My dad.
Every morning you drive from Union to one of them stores at least.
Yeah. My dad was incredibly hands-on. I still work every position in the restaurant. I'll ring on the register, I hand out and drive-through, I'll sweep, I'll mop, clean the lot. I'll do anything.
There's something about it that just attracts you to doing it, though.
Yeah.
If you actually love it, that's what's crazy.
Yeah.
And I always will say, if you love what you do, it's never a job.
I agree. And I want my people to see, that I'm right here with you. I always love to tell my people, I walk beside you, not in front of you. If I'm never going to ask you to do something that I wouldn't be doing myself. So if I'm sweeping, mopping, doing whatever, I mean, people will see me in the drive-through and they're like, "Whoa, what are you doing handing out in drive-through?" And I'm like, "I'm just working with my team today.
I just work here.
Just normal day for me, I love to do what I do. I mean,
It's your baby.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You got to take care of your baby, and I feel the same way about my business. I'm sure everybody here can attest the same way. You wouldn't do something or you wouldn't make somebody do something that you wouldn't do yourself or that you haven't done yourself.
Yeah, and I love seeing the people in the restaurants, like the guests that are coming in every day. We're incredibly involved in the communities that we operate in. We try to make a huge impact. And
touch on that. Because you do a lot. She is one of those that does not want the glory, okay? But I'm going to make you talk about it. You do a lot of stuff in the community, and that goes back to the culture that you're bringing to McDonald's and the people that work for you. Tell us about the annual things that you do and all that. Go into that for me.
I mean, there's like a ton of things we do in the communities that we operate in, but especially with schools, police, fire, like that's the foundation of every community. So that's kind of where we start. But, whether it's the band, trying to raise money, or Project Prom, or like a help center that's nearby for people to, get clothing or food, we sponsor a lot of those things. We obviously can't do everything in the world, but I try to help like as much as I possibly can because, like I had said in one of the videos that Quentin, helped us with, if you want to be part of the community, you have to give back.
Right.
Like people have to know that you are investing in this community and their people, because these people are working in your restaurants, or they're eating at your restaurant, or they're a part of a community event that's going on. So my dad was really, really big into community. And he said,
how could you want to, I'm trying to figure out how to word this. Like, how would you want to be involved in a community if you're not actually involved in a community? Just because your place is in a community does not mean that you're a part of the community at that point. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. I mean, you can move in a business at any part of the community that you want. It doesn't mean that you're actually there to be a part of the community. And I think that's really important, is to actually, reach out to schools like you do, or, the police, fire, and stuff like that. That is the foundation of your community. So if you're not a part of that, then I don't understand how you would feel being a part of your community if you're not a part of that. So that's super important, I feel like, in business. And that's awesome that you do that.
Yeah, and then it's really nice too, because when we take an opportunity to celebrate some of our people and their accomplishments, whether it's personally or professionally, I have those relationships with people in the community. Like, for example, we have somebody celebrating their 40th service anniversary coming up this month, and I called the band at the local high school and asked if they would play, and they're happy to do that. And I have the mayor stopping by, to acknowledge that person and their service. And
that's awesome.
And it's just things like that. I mean, it takes all of us, right? And so it's an opportunity for us to kind of operate cohesively and support one another, and make sure that those men and women understand how important they are too, working in the restaurants.
That's awesome.
So what interesting part that I think it's sometimes passed over as you get in the middle of busyness is what I call it. Mm-hmm. Going from one store to 8 stores is that's growth. You have to probably do a lot of outside of the store, hiring the right person for PR, marketing, keeping the books, auditing. So there's some systems I'm sure you had to put in place. Could you talk a little bit about how, what gave you the motivation to do that one, and then kind of how you do it? Because I personally think from 1 to 2 is your hardest struggle, and then after that, it's kind of you kind of get in the rhythm a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, growth, I'm incredibly blessed that I've had an opportunity to grow. My dad actually had 17 locations prior to retiring. And like I said, 17, wow. Yeah. And I definitely,
Did you acquire any of his stores?
I purchased several of them before he retired, okay, yes. Yeah, but not all at once. So, as he began that journey of retirement, we kind of slowly started transitioning.
That's cool to keep it in the family. I didn't know if, he was in a totally different district or something like that. That's cool.
Yeah.
The LaGrange one was the first one, wasn't it?
I think my very first purchase was Eminence, technically.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, but then LaGrange was soon after that.
But that little area right there seems real special to your all's business.
Yeah, it's kind of our...
all of them are obviously special to you, but that one specifically, I can tell, that community, that's where... I feel like that's where your influence really started spreading out of.
Yeah, that's kind of where we started. That's where my dad started. So yeah, when he started as an operator, he only had 2 locations, which were Pendleton and LaGrange. So that's we spent a lot of evenings there in that particular community, for a number of years, but prior to his growth. But growth obviously. it's because of the strength of my team. That's huge. In the past, I was everything to myself, probably similar to a lot of other small entrepreneurs. I was the HR person, the office person, the operator, the supervisor. I would be sitting in meetings with my corporate partners and texting people on the side, trying to get things done, and just, running on fumes like everybody else. Yeah. And as I grew, I recognized that I needed a leadership team. And so we have a phenomenal leadership team, I believe, which include general managers, office staff, supervision. I have a director for training. I have a full-time tech person. And then the cherry on top, I have my director of operations that's been with me for almost 3 years, Michael Baker. So about 3 years ago, when I grew, from 4, and then it was 5, 6, 7, 8, I was like, I don't think I can visit all 8 of these anymore. I just can't do it. So seeking out someone that could, really help me day to day and protect my company, and also
right hand.
And just make sure that I can get things done in a timely fashion. Yeah. Because I want to keep my credibility, and I physically can't be at every one of those locations. So that was a game changer for me.
And it's so important to really find a person that lines up morally the same way, that acts almost as you would want them to act without you having to tell them that. And it's so hard to find. So I'm happy you found that, because that's, to me, I've had that in some businesses and I haven't. And I tell you, when you don't have it, you just feel as if that business just is a little harder, when you don't have that right-hand person. So that's awesome. And I think that's one thing I wanted to pull out, is I feel like every really successful entrepreneur has that person that's really that backup. Because you can't do it all alone.
It's huge. It's huge. I mean, I always, joke with my director, ultimately when people speak to him or they should feel like they're speaking to the same person.
Right.
That's the ultimate goal, right? I mean, we're not going to align on every little thing, but for the most part, they should feel like they're not coming to me and getting something completely different than if they were to go to him. So, and that takes time. It takes time, to get to know one another and develop, but it is really rewarding to have someone you can go to and, outside of your immediate family.
Right.
So that's been really nice.
It sounds like just looking at the success of what you're doing, the keys to it, and that's part of the podcast. We want to teach people things. So what I'm hearing is investing into people, creating a culture that enjoys being there, and that's going to breed the people you need to grow, to put under you.
Yeah, a lot of our people, I'd say the majority of our people have grown internally. Not everyone, but it's been people that have started as a crew person for me that I've developed along the way, that are now supervisors for me, or running the office, or whatever the position is. That's important to watch our people grow.
Yeah. I also want a piece of advice from you. So I would say you're probably a person who's dealing with stresses that most people would not know how to deal with. You have 8 McDonald's stores. Mm-hmm. Now, I've been to a McDonald's ordering breakfast in the morning, and I'm stressed out as a customer watching everything go down. I mean, there's hash browns flying, there's beeping, there's people taking orders, there's door dashers coming in and out, there's people at the kiosk hitting buttons. It's like chaos. How do you deal, and obviously it's probably going to touch on, your management team, but what are you doing personally to handle the stress of the constant phone calls, messages, and problems that arise? Like you saw us this morning, we had all sorts of technical problems. We're running everywhere trying to, how do you deal with that on a day-to-day basis with 8 McDonald's every single day, 365 a year? How do you do it?
I mean, I've learned a lot from my dad.
Do you do yoga or something? What is it? What do you do?
I do work out. I try to work out. I obviously talk to, my husband and my leadership team quite a bit. I call my dad all the time, all the time. Yeah. I mean, even though he's retired, I literally call him 5 times a day. And
you just call him and vent?
Yeah, I'll vent. Yeah. I'll be like, Dad, this is what's going on today or whatever. And it's nice because he's been there.
Yeah. He'll probably chuckle at you
yeah. Sometimes he's like,
I
Emily.
remember when I had 17.
Yeah. He's like, it's fine, Emily. It's not, it's going to be fine, but,
right.
He is him and I are super close, and he's always available to chat. Whether he's on the golf course because he's in Florida quite a bit. He'll take my call anytime. And he usually knows what I'm talking about. So I mean, that's huge. Obviously, family's big for me. I have 2 kids, my husband. And they know the stress of the business. Like my kids are really, really good about it. They know if the phone rings, then I'm going to have to step to the side and take care of this.
Right.
And they're like, that's just the lifestyle they're used to. And they know that that's what I have to do. And, I try to
They know you're doing it for them.
yes, like it's not like I spend like 2 hours on the phone talking about nothing. It's, if there's something going on, then I need to take care of it. So, yeah.
You're that hands-on.
Yeah.
Call away.
But the leadership team that I spoke about, like the supervisors and, director and, a variety of other people, I'm very big into making sure that those individuals know that I trust you. I trust you. I want you to know that I have chosen you to be part of this leadership team and this company because I know that you will do your best to make the right decisions. So I'm not a big micromanager.
Yeah.
I'm not one that's going to call you every 15 minutes and say, did you do that? Did you do it? I'm going to ask. And then when the follow-up's appropriate, I'm assuming that you probably have gotten that done. And if you haven't, then we just kind of need to talk about what next steps are. But that's been really important for me. I think instilling trust in people is huge. Especially when someone's new for me, they'll say, well, do you think we should do this or that? And I'll say, I trust you.
So help me out a little bit here, from business owner to business owner. Where did you learn to place your trust into people you don't know and hire people and place your trust into doing certain jobs that that are very important roles?
Yeah.
How'd you do that?
I've definitely been burned like everybody else a million times. I mean, and I'm sure it won't be the last. I'm 100% confident that.
So basically you have to jump over that hurdle of being scared to be burned.
Yeah. I've had situations.
You have to know that it's part of the game.
Yeah. I mean, there's good people, there's bad people. I've done things for people along the way, as I'm sure all of you have before, along the way to help them and, have just been in some really bad situations. But, I'm just going to continue to deliver what I think is right. And I just always say I can look at myself in the mirror at night. I know that I'm a good person. I know that I'm doing the best that I can, and we're just going to keep moving. So
I'm going to ask you quite a few questions that I need advice with, just like that one. I struggle with trust.
It is a struggle. It's a huge struggle.
I'm at that point in my business where I can't grow because of the trust issues. And I've been a sole person in my business since I started, and it's always been that way. And it's hard to grow because I'm afraid of being burned. So jumping over that bridge is like a really difficult thing for me.
Yeah.
And
that's hard.
It really is. And there's another question that I want to ask you is, how do you handle negative reviews?
Yeah, I mean, I've had a lot of exposure, to people that have maybe had a bad experience.
Sure. No one's going to, not everyone's going to be happy, but I'm just wondering, that's another thing I struggle with is how to handle yourself.
Richie gets a little excited sometimes on the
I get
negative
excited.
reviews.
I would say that she's getting them at a scale that she's at this point, I'm only responding to positive.
I understand. I'm talking about when you maybe first started, when you had your first McDonald's baby.
Yeah.
How did you handle the negative feedback?
Yeah, I still will get texts and phone calls because I make myself very available in my communities. My number is out there. So
somebody's hitting you up hey, they got my cheeseburger wrong.
I have it all the time. I never like it, right? But there are times, that happens. I like what my dad always had said, and I practice it. We don't claim to run perfect restaurants, but we probably try harder than anyone else.
Nice.
And
I like that. That's a soundbite.
Yeah. So I have people that will come to me, with a concern or question or maybe experience that wasn't, exceptional. And, first off, I let people know, thank you so much for reaching out. It really means a lot to me because I'm completely aware that you could have chosen to go anywhere this evening for dinner and you chose to come to my McDonald's. And you work hard for your money like everyone else does. And so my job is to make sure that you're not worried about accuracy, cleanliness, friendliness, speed of service, these types of things. You're just simply going in to eat. and these things shouldn't be a concern for you. And if they are, then I want to fix it. And I encourage people to call me and reach out to my office if things aren't going right for some reason, because posting it on social media or blasting it's not going to fix the problem, probably, but if you just give me a chance, I can fix it. And maybe it's a training and development opportunity. I don't think anybody goes into work hoping they do a really bad job today. It probably was just the perfect storm, a bad situation, whatever happened. And, we're just going to have to continue to fix things. We're going to have to continue to develop people. We have new people all the time. We have very young people, that are starting jobs for the very, very first time. Right? Yes. We have a generation of, we have people from age of 14 to 93, and all of them have different views and perspectives and visions of what business looks like or what they should be delivering on a day-to-day basis. And it's kind of difficult sometimes to try to get all those different generations to collaborate nicely in the sandbox, and talk to each other. And so that could be really, really hard sometimes. But yeah, I believe me, I have instances where, even an employee maybe isn't happy with something that's happening. And I tell people, that when they first start, all the time, but especially when they first begin with us, all I ask is you give me an opportunity to fix something if an issue arises, because I can fix just about anything in these four walls, but if you just call me and say, I'm having difficulty with my schedule, or I don't like XYZ, or I want to change the night shifter, or whatever it is, I can probably fix it. Yeah. But if you quit and you don't talk to me, then I can't address it.
And I think God probably put you in that path of P&G, human resources, hiring, firing, knowing the proper steps to take when you're in a stressful situation. I was blessed enough to work for, Archer Daniels Midland, which was a large-scale agricultural company. And I look at what I'm doing now in my businesses. It's the same concepts, but just a little smaller. Mm-hmm.
Yes.
And I just think that just bodes very well for you, and it's probably been a big reason for your success, because you got to be taught by one of the best companies in the world.
Yes, I'm incredibly blessed that I had that part of my career, and like I said, I had a lot of colleagues at that time that thought I was crazy when I left. I mean, they were like, Emily, you're making a huge mistake.
You made a huge mistake.
And I'll tell you, that first week, it was scary. There were a couple times through 6 years to become an operator. That was not a short jaunt. There were a couple times when I doubted myself. Yeah. I was like, I don't know if I'm going to make it. I don't know if I can do this.
What kept you going? You probably could have got back on the horn, got another corporate job in a heartbeat.
Yeah, I wanted it. I really did. I wanted to provide opportunity to people. I wanted to watch people grow. I wanted to be part of the community. I wanted to do all these things I watched my dad do and other operators. And my dad, has always taught me, do not give up. It's huge for him. Yeah. Actually, when we were growing up, we weren't allowed to say the word can't in our house. It's yes, I can. It's not I can't. So if I'd be like, I can't do it, I don't want to hear it. And you have to be, you have to keep going. So that was huge for me.
That's awesome.
So I feel like in the core is you love people, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
And that's
you want to be working with people all day.
You want McDonald's, your McDonald's to be successful, great, but you still would rather see somebody else grow and make more money and grow personally and heck, if that isn't, if it's even, hey, you got an opportunity somewhere else, but it's a great opportunity, you're all about that. And you're actually legitimately excited for them.
I've had that. I've had it happen before where it's like, Emily, this is a better position for my family, and I totally support it. I know people have to do what's best for their family. But the people is what drives my organization. We're very people driven. I know that not everybody has a desire to go to college,
Right.
and I don't discourage people to not go to college, but I have individuals that have incredibly healthy careers in my company,
Right.
Company cars, vacation, benefits, all the things
Yeah.
that I'm able to offer to these, particular individuals. And I think it's phenomenal. Some people want to work with their hands, some people want
Yeah.
to do something differently. And I think, unfortunately, sometimes people believe that, at McDonald's, there's only so far you can go. And that's just not the case.
Right.
I mean, like I said, I have, 2 office staff, a director for training, a full-time tech person, 4 supervisors, a director. I mean,
And as
all
you
these
grow,
individuals.
You need more coming.
Yeah. So, I mean, like, all these positions weren't overnight, and they're part of, a group of people that I confide in day to day. So I think it's huge.
Awesome.
So tell me a time that you've had to fire a person that you really, really liked. And how did you
I actually know this story. I don't
and
know
how
if
did you,
you
and
put
how
it
did you
out there.
justify?
Yeah, I mean, I've had situations where, it's honestly not very frequent, to be honest with you. Like, you probably think I've fired like a million people. I really haven't. I really try to meet people where they're
Her
at.
stores are different.
I really
Her
try to
people
meet
are
people
different.
where they're at. Like, if I see a performance issue, like my team, that they know exactly how I'm going to work. I'll sit down with them. Instead of me pounding someone and saying, you're late every day. They already know they're late every day. Okay, like this is the obvious. Let's talk about what's occurring outside of work to prevent you from being a great performer. Yeah. So, it's like, let's talk about availability. And people will say, Emily, I know I'm late every day. I actually have to get my kid on the bus at 8. Okay, well, would it be more comfortable for you to work at 9? Would that,
Yeah.
Or 10 or
Making
whatever?
that simple.
That would be amazing.
fix.
I didn't know I could change it. I didn't know that I could, I didn't know.
Imagine
And-
how easy it is to fix
Yeah.
certain
You
issues.
just
And
talk.
yeah.
Well, honestly,
so,
I think that you are enabling that, though, because I've worked at places and they would just be like, figure it out.
Yes, yeah. The flexibility piece is huge. Like, I just met with a football coach locally at one of the high schools, and I was just talking to them about their athletes, and I said, I'm very flexible. Like, I know these athletes and other people have, responsibilities outside of work or school, and we're willing to work with that. So if you can only work Monday 4 to 8, that's fine. I would rather have you Monday 4 to 8 than no days at all. People come to me and say, like, well, I need to change my availability because now I have an elderly parent. No problem.
Yeah.
It's no problem. But unfortunately, I think other employers are hardcore, just like you mentioned. And it's
Yeah.
like, if you can't give me every Friday and Saturday, then you're useless to me. You're not welcome here anymore. And I've heard that from other, competitors and employers where I'm like, wow, that's pretty rough.
Yeah, because, like, what do you expect? I mean, I'm not... It's an entry-level positions here. I mean, if you want good people to stay with you, treat them right, make those bins, make it easy for them to be there, make them happy to be there, and then you're going to retain them longer. You're not going to have the flip of, changing out employees and people quitting and all that. You're building a culture. You're doing it right.
Yeah,
I love it.
I go into my restaurants, daily, and my dad started that. We have a rule that, you walk into the restaurant, and I try to get all my managers to do that as well. And we say hi to every person by name as soon as we walk in the door, even if you're getting slammed. It's like I walk through the whole restaurant. Hey, Jake. Hi, Frank. Hi, Samantha. It's so good to see you today. Thanks for being here. And they look at me like I'm crazy, because
They're sweating.
yeah, they're like,
What?
Thank you for being here. You're paying me to be here. Probably that's what they think. But I know they could have chosen not to come to work today,
Yeah.
maybe for some reason. And so I'm just like, thanks for
They
being
could
here.
have called in.
Yeah. So thanks for coming in today. Thanks for being part of my organization. And then I try to get to know people as much as I can. Like, I really do. Like, I don't maybe know every single fact about them, but I try to know enough where I'm like, tell me about this really cool necklace you're wearing, or when is the birthday celebration for your son or whatever. And I think it humanizes us a little bit. It's like, we can talk a little bit more about McDoubles. We can talk.
You showing up and being in the trenches and just talking with people, that's what creates that culture. I mean, that's, and anybody watching this that's starting a business, this is just great advice, period, because eventually you're going to hire people. This is teaching them literally how to treat people. That's how you breed, having a staff you can rely on. You don't want a bunch of enemies out there, a bunch of people thinking, oh, they're just a corporate owner. They don't care about us. You know, when you actually do care, it's going to show, and it really is. I think it's been incredible.
What's your biggest challenge that you face regularly that in your business that you just have to overcome more than you think you would sometimes?
I mean, personally, I think it's just putting the business aside. Sometimes I think that's like the biggest challenge for me. It's not that I don't trust anyone. It's just I want to be so available for my team.
Right.
It's not that I don't think that they can do it. Like even I was on a cruise last week, and I had the connectivity plan, to make sure that I could check in occasionally. And I just care so much about them. That's all it is. I care about them so much. And I know how hard they're working because I've done it. I think that's also like an important element is, and I love that my dad positioned me that way and McDonald's did as well. I've been a general manager. Right. I've been a director. I've been a supervisor. And it wasn't for 10 minutes. And it wasn't in 1998. It was within the last 7 to 10 years. So I'm very relatable. Like when people come to me and they say, this is what I'm facing, I can easily feel that. Like I know what they're dealing with, or it's not like I just walked in and I became your owner last week, and I've never done any of this before. And I still do it every day. So I know what it's like. And so, but I think it is challenging to just stop.
I truly believe there's no such thing as a work-life balance. I feel like
yes.
I feel like it's the teeter-totter is always going to be 70% here, 30% there, and thank God for our spouses.
Yes.
Right.
And and that's what I struggle with as well. And we'll say it. And I don't know if I'll ever not struggle with it, but you do have to step back and have that alone time with your husband. It's important. You do have to have those moments with your kids so they remember and have those core memories. And I'm just glad you said that. That hits 150% home.
It is so hard. It is so hard. So hard. I'm not very good at it. I'm getting better, though. I'm getting better day to day. And like I said, I just care so much about my team. And I want them to know that I'm here for them 150%.
Right. Do you think your kids will hop into the business and follow your footsteps, or are they on to other things? Yeah,
that's a common question I get. I don't know that answer. They're pretty young still.
I mean, you went all the way to Procter & Gamble, then came back.
Yeah,
so that could happen through them too.
I don't know. I mean, like my daughter, she's 11, and you have to be 14, to work at McDonald's, at least in hours. And so, I mean, she's already like, can I come with you when I'm 14? Can I do this?
She wants to do it.
Yeah. So like she wants to give that a go. And I'm completely behind them, whatever they want to do in life. I'm about it. For those of us that have grown in McDonald's, there's a place in Chicago, called Hamburger University, where you have to go to become a general manager. And there's a variety of other classes there too. And so I technically have my degree in hamburgerology in addition to my bachelor's. And so the joke at our house is the only college fund they have is that hamburgerology degree. That's it. There's no college fund. I'm just kidding though. But that's what I always tell them. I'm like, that's the only degree you're going to get. So because that's the one I need you to have. So
it's awesome.
Yeah.
Do you think it's time for
spirit animals? I'm already ready. You ready?
Are you ready?
Yeah.
I'm still in the air, I think.
So
Richie?
I am going to.
I'm ready.
I personally look at you as a hummingbird.
Do you know about spirit animals?
Yes.
Right into it.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay, spirit animals is just something, as we talk and we kind of feel that, I feel like, hummingbirds travel to I think it's something over to 1,000 flowers a day.
Dude, I like this one.
They are absolutely everywhere. They're always a positive influence on the places that they're going. Like, when have you sat on your back patio and saw a hummingbird and be like, oh, that dang hummingbird?
Literally, time stops. Everybody's like, there's a hummingbird.
Look, there's a hummingbird. Everybody. I don't care if you're 90 or 5.
Yes.
You're loving some hummingbird. So I think that's a lot of what that trait that, you radiate and you help everybody out.
Well, thank you.
I like that. Go ahead, Richie.
I'm going to say red panda.
A red panda?
Ooh.
Very specific.
Have you seen them at the zoo, right?
Yeah.
The fluffy ones.
The real cute ones.
Yeah.
So everybody, when you go to the zoo, everybody like obviously likes the tigers and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But the red pandas are a exhibit that everybody likes to see because they're just so nice, they're docile, but also like red pandas are like pretty good hustlers. Like they're the hustlers of the panda world. They'll forage for bamboo and actually fight for their family, which is their team. So they're a really docile and hustling type of animal. So that's kind of what I feel.
We all have similar ones. I was going to say a bumblebee
Oh,
or a honeybee. Honeybee.
Yes.
The honeybee, right?
Yes.
Kind of similar to what
Very
you were saying.
important.
Very busy.
Yes.
Very busy.
Yeah.
Always doing something.
Yes.
Always
Yes.
working. The queen of the hive.
Yeah.
aha! Look, see, that's big.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah,
good.
yeah. That's what I see you as. You're all day buzzing around, going to spot, kind of similar to what he said, and you're taking care of work. You're making sure everybody's taken care of and getting things done,
Right.
making moves.
Yes.
I like that. My dad is a beekeeper on the side, so I grew up
nice.
around honeybees. So
I'm watching tons of videos on.
Dude, that's
beekeepers
great for your
lately, so
allergies,
it's been
by
in
the
my
way.
head.
yes,
Unbelievable
yes.
for your allergies.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we actually have some hives on our property. So
Some reason that
Can we get honey? Because my wife was been looking for local honey.
Like when you're a
Here-
beekeeper,
here I
it
am.
doesn't matter what type of person you are outside of the world. You can be an angry person, a hyper person, somebody who's crazy. But when you get around honeybees, it changes your whole perspective. It turns you into this calm, slow, patient person. And I noticed that because I'm the complete opposite of all of those. But when I'm around my honeybees,
yeah,
you have to
You
change
still
your
got that
temperament.
going?
Yeah, of course.
Nice.
You have to change your temperament and
Yes.
be slow and patient with them, or you're gonna get
Or you're gonna get
you're gonna get got
yes,
It's not going to
a
feel
bunch.
good.
You're not
Yeah.
gonna get got once.
yeah.
They team up on you pretty quick if
Yeah,
you
they
piss them
do.
off. So it's like, yeah, I like honeybees. They're cool. That's a cool spirit animal.
Yep, fun stuff. Thanks for coming out here. and
Yeah,
being on our
absolutely.
podcast.
Yeah.
I think that number one, you're inspiration for women entrepreneurs. Also,
Thank you.
We didn't touch on that because we're a room full of guys. Sorry about
Yeah.
that. But yeah, being a woman and doing what you're doing is fantastic too. You're in charge. No one's questioning your authority. You're the boss lady. You're the HBIC. Look that up on Google. Up or out? Yeah, you guys are.
I'll be okay.
Did you see my post this morning about you coming on?
Not this morning, no.
This will all come clear to you later, okay? Stephanie Behrens, if you're out there, she knows you're the HBIC. She confirmed it.
Yes.
She'll figure it out. Josh doesn't know either.
I'm the most.
Josh.
I'm the most vanilla boy.
We got a thumbs up.
There
we got
it
a
is.
thumbs up from her. What is this position again with you?
What was that? Sorry.
What's his position for you?
Director of Operations.
Director of Operations. So
Yeah.
Your right-hand man.
Yeah.
Awesome. All right, folks. This is the Make Your Move podcast. Any final thoughts from you guys? Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off there.
No, I think the biggest thing that I took out of this, and it's all about the people.
Yeah,
it's all about the people.
If you're building a company, it's breed the success within the people.
And don't limit people because all that's going to do is hurt your business.
And bend. We learned a lot from you today. I think that your method at McDonald's is something that corporate should listen to. And when I met her, I said it's only a matter of time for McDonald's corporate sees what you're doing, and then they're going to be knocking at your door to go across the country and teach this at each McDonald's. That's coming. I already see it coming because what you're doing is totally different from anything that I see out there. Once again, this is the Make Your Move podcast. If you're out there and you need that nudge, this is it. Tune in every other Thursday. We might be hopping into every Thursday here soon, or at least doing 2 of these a day. Another thing I want to put out there is we've had a lot of entrepreneurs reach out to us. We love you all. We're not ignoring you. We want you all to come be on the podcast. We did have an issue with how to take in this information. So we've created a questionnaire. It's going to be on my website soon.
Yep.
We'll start putting that out, and basically you'll go to the website, fill it out, and then we'll try to figure out where we can fit you in to get you in on the podcast and tell your story. Once again, Make Your Move podcast, we out.
Thank you.
Congratulations, you have made your move.